We're going live with the audio, and we're going live with the video right now on the clock. And I don't hear Allison. Shoot. Did I turn her on? Allison, I don't hear your audio. No audio from Allison. Do you hear her in the chat room? Okay. So let me check to make sure it's not me. No, I don't hear her on YouTube or podfeed.com/live. Bear with us, folks. As I said, we are coming from a remote location, so it's a little challenging. So Alan, are you saying you hear her on YouTube or in the Discord chat room? You're seeing nothing, Frank, so go to podfeed.com/live and do a refresh. And Rick, thank you. I only hear Discord as well. I don't hear her on YouTube or podfeed.com/live. Allison, do you hear me? You do, okay. I still don't hear you. Anyone here, at the moment anyone hears Allison, oh, she's going to disconnect and reconnect. Okay. Bear with us. It's a bit of a challenge here. I'm still getting no audio from Allison. Let me toggle Allison's audio. There we go. There we go.
Well, no. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. I had to toggle your audio. That's interesting. Now,
always a challenge. Always fun. Okay, so it's probably time for a roll call. By the way, as a joke, I was holding this with the blue light towards it. I could probably hold it this way so you don't see that. I'm gonna have to hand hold the mic, and I expect when I'm messing around, you're gonna hear a lot of noise on the microphone as a result. But we have, let's see, we have Steve and Kevin. And let's see, Alan is here, and Brett, and Dave Ginsburg, and Joe Prizer, Joe P. Howdy doody. We've been seeing a lot of Joe over on our Slack channel. We've got John, and we got Rose, and Rixie's done his audio check for us. I think Steven Getz is faking. TitanBot, by the way, tonight, I believe is brought to you by Steve's sister Elaine and her husband Daryl. And we've got Troy Shimkus, and we have Frank bringing up the rear with the wheels. Where am I supposed to get the feed, he says. Roll call. Roll call. Actually, now if I put it towards me, I have a blue.
Who's asking?
What are you asking? Oh, that's Frank.
Frank, go to podfeed.com/live. Let me.
Steve, if you say it out loud, he won't.
Well, some people can hear, but I guess he can't.
Can somebody help him out?
And I know my talking's loud, people, but I can't really help it because I have an internal mic only tonight.
And I am on a, what am I on? The ATR 2100. All right, Steve. I am not going to be able to easily mute you, so I'm going to have to just give you a cue to mute.
Okay, but you called roll call, and I'd like to introduce very briefly, if I could, my sister and brother-in-law.
Oh, that would be fun.
Hold on.
YouTube noise is not working for me.
Can you come in and say hi?
All right, I'll do the introductions here. Oh, yay, Baxter!
This is my sister Elaine and their wonderful pug Baxter. He's a little elderly, what, 15?
Yes.
He's 15, but he's chugging in there. He's doing good.
And this is Daryl, my brother-in-law. That Steve has introduced Baxter, but has not introduced Daryl.
Phoenix and the surrounding areas, Fountain Hills.
Yes.
And a lot of hiking and enjoying the scenery and restaurants and exhibits. It's been great. We've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
So Steve can't hear me.
Bye, Baxter.
I don't know if he introduced Daryl at all, but that's her husband, Daryl.
So you're seeing the stream okay?
Yeah.
Oh, he did? Okay, thanks, Dave.
All right, we'll be back in less than an hour. All right, thank you for bearing with us. I just wanted them to see everybody.
By the way, we do really like, Steve, that you introduced Baxter and then later on Daryl.
Well, Baxter's pretty special.
Yeah, Baxter is special. He's been in the family for 15 years, so what are you going to do?
All right.
Well, I can tell I'm going to get really tired of holding this microphone, so I'm going to, see, I think I'll put you over here and cover you up with the Discord chat. And I need to hide, I have minimalistic space here. But, okay, hang on. Oh, I'm going to be so tired of holding this microphone, I can tell. All right, I think we are about ready for you to mute your microphone there, Steve.
I'm muting now, but you're going to have to tell me because I won't remember.
Yes, you can hear Steve's keyboard very, very brightly there.
I won't be typing while she's recording.
One can only hope, Dave.
One can only hope.
Keep an eye on him, though.
I'm muting.
Missed how they're related. Oh, John, that was Steve's sister, Elaine, and her husband, Daryl, and the dog was Baxter. There's also Oliver and what's the other one? Morty.
Morty. Wait. Marty. Yeah, it's Morty because it's Morty Feldman eyes.
He looks like Marty Feldman.
He's got eyes just like Marty Feldman.
There's a lot of pug. I'm not.
But his real name is Morty. All right, I'm gonna mute it.
I think that's a good idea. We should get going. All right, what are the chances this is going to work? But let's give it a try. I've never done a handheld mic here, but we're going to do it. All right. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, November 11th, 2018, and this is show number 705. Well, we are at a secret remote location in the desert for the show tonight, also known as Steve's sister's house. We invited ourselves to Elaine and her husband Daryl's house in Arizona. It's pretty much the only way we ever get to go anywhere. We just invite ourselves places. Heck, ask Marianne and Devin how we ended up in New Zealand after we invited ourselves to their wedding. True story. Anyway, we're having a blast out here. We're hiking and horseback riding and eating and even just hanging out. I highly recommend Elaine's bed and breakfast. She even put mints on her pillows. All right, enough fun times talking about our summer vacation with Steve's sister. Actually, it's a winter vacation now, but so let's dig into the show. Well, this week's Chit Chat Across the Pond is a little bit different. You've met Joe Dugancic a few times before on Chit Chat and in our CES coverage. He does the Smarter Home Life YouTube channel and blog, and he also happens to live in a tiny home. On our trip to Phoenix to visit Steve's sister, we added a day to get a chance to visit Joe and see his tiny home in real life. During the interview on Chit Chat, he walked me through his home, explaining the work he's done using lighting to create the feeling of multiple places, even though it's all in a single room. He's graduate level by programming in scenes using the Indigo platform on his Mac and integrating these scenes into Insteon switches on the walls of his tiny home. He actually uses Python and AppleScript to do that. He even takes us on a tour of his tiny closet, where he has not only all of his clothes and, the normal things you would have in a closet, but also all of the gear stowed away to create his YouTube channel, including multiple tripods, LED light panels, and green screen. Steve recorded video as well, and that video will be posted on Monday. We chose to delay it by one day because he only had the old black, gray, red intro video on his MacBook Pro, so we're going to have to wait until he gets home to pull in the blue and red intro. I'm sure you understand why we had a delay for such an important thing as branding. As always, the audio is in the Chit Chat Across the Pond and Chit Chat Across the Pond light feed, and it's embedded into the page on podfeet.com, and the video will be embedded in that same page when it's produced. Okay, got through one segment. Boy, am I going to be tired of holding this mic. You hear this?
Yeah.
Theo is in the Chit Chat Across the Pond and Chit Chat Across the Pond light feed. It sounds really quiet, but you guys think it sounds okay? Are you unmuted, Steve?
I'm unmuted now. I got to unmute on Discord too. I got to mute on Discord too because I'm driving them crazy.
Oh, a save.
So I got 2 mutes and a video to switch now.
Here's one problem. I have to use my hands to do things like enter a new chapter. You go down like this. There we go. And there's going to be a lot of mic noise.
Yeah,
I don't actually know how to do things without keystrokes.
As long as it doesn't happen while you're recording, I think you'll be fine. We just lost you. No audio, Al.
I'm not talking.
Oh, okay. I was looking at the YouTube.
You didn't recognize me?
I was looking at the YouTube link, which is delayed several seconds, and you were talking, but no audio.
Nice. Let's see.
Make Steve hold the mic? No, I'm in another room. My arm's not that long. There's a bathroom on the right. I assume that's what you're referring to.
What are you talking about?
Something John just posted.
Okay. All right.
Hang it from the ceiling. Yes, Troy. If we just have the duct tape. Maybe Baxter can hold the mic. Yeah.
Baxter's 15. I think he's too old.
Yeah.
But man, Ollie, you can't trust him.
Yeah. He would go take the mic and run with it. Yeah, maybe Bad Moon and maybe Bathroom. I'm not sure, John. I like Bathroom. There's a bathroom on the right. Sounds better.
Okay. So I hope your sister's impressed with the quality of the information you provide as part of the show. All right.
Now she knows what I really do.
I told Elaine that you take your responsibilities very seriously. You act like you're, given the nuclear launch codes when you get started. But that's okay.
I do take it pretty seriously.
Glad somebody does. I was upstairs drinking a gin and tonic, watching the sunset with Elaine when Steve was trying to get the feed working. So it's all good. All right.
Forbes can't hold the mic, unfortunately, because he's in San Diego. He's not with us right now. But we've had plenty of chatting. Okay, time for me to mute.
Time to mute, Steve. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I don't usually plug new podcasts, but I'm going to do exactly that. You know, I'm a huge fangirl of the SMR podcast. Getting to know Rod and Rob and Chris over the years through the show, and then in person with at least Rod and Rob. Still have not met Chris. Anyway, it's been a blast getting to know at least 2 of the 3 in real life, for Steve and me. A frequent guest on the SMR podcast is a guy named Terrence Gaines. Terrence brings an ever so slight Apple bias to the show so that I don't have to carry the load all the time. Terrence, also known as Brother Tech, has teamed up with his friend Nika Montford to start an Apple-centric show called Snob OS. I mean, seriously, how great is that name? I thought I leaned into my Apple bias. Anyway, Nika is so my people. I haven't met her yet, but she just sounds awesome. She has a bachelor's of science in both electrical and computer engineering, and she's getting her master's from Georgia Tech. Now, if this was just another Mac podcast, I probably wouldn't have brought it up. But Nika and Terrence are bringing something very unique. Wait, I always learned you don't put an adjective with unique. They're bringing something unique to the table. Along with the usual Apple news, tips and tricks, cool software and gadgets, which we all love, right? They're also going to flavor the show with a cultural angle. Being African American, they both hope to bring to light the viewpoint of people of color and how their world might be different from most mainstream tech users. I really like learning about how other people experience the world, and this sounds like a great opportunity to do that. They're not going to be all preachy or anything like that. It's just, some extra spice added to the mix. I told Terrence that they made a huge mistake with their inaugural episode. You're supposed to look back and laugh at how awful it was, but their first episode was great. It's called Origin Stories, and it lets you learn a bit about them, and then it jumps right into the tech. I hope you'll go check it out at snoboscast.com or look for Snob OS in your podcatcher of choice. They even spelled it like Mac OS with lowercase snob and uppercase OS all run together as one word. So look it up again as Snob OS in your podcatcher of choice. All right. I'm going to set the mic down while Steve talks because it's really hard to do both these things at the same time to put in the chapter markers. So for the live show, this is going to be really annoying. You're allowed to talk, Steve.
I can talk.
Well, you're supposed to keep talking, Steve.
Well, I'm not the on-air talent. I'm just the producer.
Yeah, but you need to entertain them when I'm far away from my mic.
All right. So, any good jokes out there? You got Discord on Windows on? Good job. Big sausage. No, actually, Frank, last week was the big sausage grinder. This week's going amazingly smooth. I'm streaming this from my 13-inch MacBook Pro. It just ground to a halt last week. I'm not sure what happened, but it's working great now. Maybe it's Phoenix good vibes or something. This is working much better. TJ, you really expect us to download a movie? 5.38 meg? Yeah, that's not too bad. That's a GIF. Oh. Did they replace any hardware? Are my sister and brother-in-law? No, this is their. We brought some hardware ourselves, but this is their internet setup, and we're going over Wi-Fi. So I'm a little bit surprised this is working as well as it is.
Yeah, we're gonna have to let Oliver know that whatever was wrong healed itself, right?
Yeah, I don't think it was Mimo. I think maybe we just both. Did anyone pick up a new Mac hardware?
Maybe you didn't reboot your Mac.
Yeah, it was great to see you too, Joe. In person, live, and see the tiny
Joe's
home.
here.
Joe's here. Oh yeah, you didn't see that. Yeah.
I just finished talking about it on the
he was
intro there.
He was here during your last session there.
Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna keep going.
All right,
Mute
muting.
Yourself. It seems that iPads are gaining in popularity lately, and perhaps you have your eye on one of the new devices announced recently. Perhaps you have an older iPad and you're looking for a good use for it. Whether you're looking to justify the new purchase or looking for something to do with the old one, have you considered using your iPad as a second screen for your Mac? Now, I know you've heard this promise before with an app called Duet Display. Duet Display was designed to extend your desktop like a real display, but it had some drawbacks. It must be hardwired with either a lightning cable or a 30-pin cable for your older iPad model. Duet Display also only supports 1080p resolutions, not full Retina. It's also got some compatibility problems with more recent versions of macOS. I tested it out on Mojave, and it doesn't work as designed any longer. They included a little video to explain that it doesn't work from their menu bar app any longer and how to access it from AirPlay. I got it into a mode where it didn't fill the screen on the iPad and I couldn't get it back up, so in my opinion, Duet Display is not a good option until they get that fixed. There's another app in this space that we've talked about before called AstroPad from astropad.com. It costs $30. AstroPad solves a different problem. Instead of extending your desktop, it mirrors your desktop to your iPad. With your desktop mirrored, you can use your Apple Pencil, a regular stylus, or even your finger to draw in applications that are running on your Mac. I wrote up AstroPad a while back in 2015. Now, AstroPad comes in the standard version I reviewed for $30 one time, or in a professional version for $80 per year. While AstroPad is a really cool app, it is targeted towards drawing and doing image manipulation on your iPad, but nothing else. The folks at AstroPad decided to design a method to use the iPad as a second display for your Mac. But they wanted to make sure it had as little latency as possible, so they came up with a hardware solution, not just a software solution. They created a device called Luna Display, and they decided to crowdfund it on Kickstarter. I made a private pact with myself not to ever talk to you guys about crowdfunded projects because I don't want to ever be in a position of convincing you to sale as a real product. As soon as it did, I immediately purchased it. Luna Display is a tiny USB device that comes in two configurations. It looks like a miniature thumb drive, and it comes in either USB-C or DisplayPort versions. Both of them are $80. To operate the Luna Display,
I had an interruption on the stream.
I'm stopping.
So I'm going to have to restart the stream.
Okay, so what does that mean?
That means we'll have to refresh Puffy.com.
Okay. Do I need to do anything differently?
No.
Okay. I will stand by. Looks fine to me. Well, I guess I sing again, doesn't it? I want to buy it, but I have no use for it. My workflow. Yeah.
I'm going to have to restart the stream. We have an issue.
Okay.
And that means that people at podfeed.com/live will also need to.
So have you written it? Oh, Troy says to sing again. You putting it in the chat room?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go back and listen to where I was. Luna Display is a tiny USB device that comes there. Luna Display is a tiny USB device.
I think.
You're not restarting your whole Mac,
Hold
are you?
on, maybe we... So it looks like it may have just picked it up. I may not have to redo
It healed itself? Can you...
So
Daryl can tell you whether it's working.
Hold on.
Save as the sausage gremlins are circling.
Daryl, are you going to do this live now?
I think I will.
Okay. So don't refresh.
No interruption on YouTube. Maybe it's just a fantasy of Steve's that something went wrong.
Okay, I guess if you
Some
interrupt,
enchanted evening.
If you interrupt,
they asked me to sing again. Steve, you can talk. I'm not typing.
I'm surprised. Normally, I guess you get a grace period. If you interrupt the stream for more than so much, you have to restart it. But it kept it going, so I think we're still good. Everyone in the chat room, can you still see us?
And I'll keep going.
I think so. Let me just ask in the chat room.
Rush can hear me singing. I'm just a girl who can't say no. I'm in a terrible fix. I always say, come on, let's go, just when I ought to say
okay,
mix.
Thanks, Joe.
It's from Oklahoma.
Not hearing you on Discord. Probably I'm muted there, yeah. Okay, in Discord, can you hear me now, Rick? I was muted there. Rush joined us.
Troy knows Oklahoma.
Yes.
All right.
All right, I think we're good.
To continue with the show if you're done.
Yep, I just want to make sure it was streaming. I think we're good, all of you.
Okay. Okay. All right, you done? Okay, you must be muted. I don't hear him. Here we go. Luna Display is a tiny USB device that comes in two configurations. It looks like a miniature thumb drive, and I mean miniature, and it comes in either USB-C or mini DisplayPort versions. Both of them are $80. To operate Luna Display, you need to install the Luna Display software on your Mac and on your iPad, and both apps are free. Simply plug in the Luna Display and your Mac will automatically launch the Luna Display app and tell you to launch the iPad version. A note will come on screen to tell you that your displays will blink a few times. It's good that they warn you because it would be a bit disconcerting otherwise. You would think something had really gone wrong. After a few blinks, you'll see your Mac's desktop showing on your iPad. The Mac will display a window entitled Luna Display Settings. This setting screen lets you tell the apps whether your iPad is to the left or right of your Mac. This works fine if the iPad is simply sitting on a table next to your notebook. But if you have a more complex environment, there's a button called Custom, which then launches macOS's display preference pane. From there, you can rearrange displays at will. I was able to arrange the display in my MacBook Pro with my iPad as a display and my 27-inch LG display in any arrangement I desired. The last option on the Luna Display settings window is to enable or disable Retina resolution on your iPad. Retina looks fantastic on iPad, and it's not wee tiny so you can't see, it's just crisp and clear. I've been using Luna Display with two different iPads over the last few weeks. The 12.9-inch iPad Pro, the second generation, adds a screen that's even bigger than a 13-inch MacBook Pro. I guess that's true of the new one as well. When I travel, like I am right now, it is super handy because I'm away from my big monitor. When I'm at home, I'm actually finding the 9.7-inch iPad Pro to be really useful with the Luna Display. I do that because the 9.7 is just small enough that I can actually put it in front of my big monitor and it doesn't occlude the big screen. I'm finding that the 9.7-inch screen is perfect to host one application in full screen. For example, when I do the live show, I never have enough screen in front of me to keep an eye on the live chat in Discord. I know I could look to my right to my MacBook Pro, but that's actually really far away and it makes me look away from the camera, so I won't be looking at the audience when I'm looking at the live chat. Now you might ask, why don't you just run Discord natively on the iPad? Well, I can't do that because my audio from my Mac is actually piped into Discord so people can hear the show that way. That means I have to be in Discord on the Mac. I've also found out just in normal working at my desk that having our Slack group open or maybe Telegram on the iPad is really nice. In that case, I could run the native apps, but it seems natural to just slide them down there. In fact, I can put them both on the iPad in full screen mode and they end up in separate spaces because the iPad is actually the Mac screen. It's kind of mind-bendy, right? Well, speaking of mind-bendy, you can use your Mac's keyboard to type on the iPad when it's a second display. But you can also use the keyboard attached to your iPad to type on the iPad when it's actually a Mac. I use the smart keyboard and it works on that little Mac screen as well. Not really sure why that works. Well, things get slightly weirder when you use your fingers with gestures on the iPad. I mentioned putting two apps in different spaces on the iPad screen. If I use my Mac's trackpad with 4 fingers, I can swipe back and forth between the spaces on the iPad, just like with any Mac display and spaces. I have used the trackpad. I do have to use the trackpad to tap on the iPad screen first to make sure it's the Mac screen being manipulated. But there's also a natural tendency to use your fingers directly on the iPad screen. I tried a 4-fingered swipe on the iPad, and it flipped between the Mac and the iOS. The iOS. It's flipped between the Mac OS and iOS. And that really confused me at first, but it makes complete sense. The iPad sees Luna Display as a simple app, so using 4 fingers on the iPad screen just flips back and forth between the two apps that are running in iOS. Still, kind of mind-bendy. All right, here's another one to twist your brain. On a Mac, you scroll on a trackpad with 2 fingers. On an iPad, you scroll with 1 finger. When you're using Luna Display and you want to scroll the Mac display on the iPad, you have to use 2 fingers to scroll because it's a Mac, right? Again, this makes sense, but you have to train your brain that when you're touching the iPad, you're actually touching a Mac. So you have to train yourself. The good news is you can use 2 fingers on the Mac's trackpad to scroll the iPad screen as well. When you do use your fingers directly on the iPad screen to scroll, you'll see bright pink circles under your fingers as you scroll on screen. I'm not sure why they make it so vivid, but you absolutely can't miss it. When you touch the iPad screen with 2 fingers, you'll also see pink crosshairs with arrows. The crosshairs appear to be a visual indicator to let you know that you can pinch and zoom if the Mac app you're in actually supports that. For example, I put a Safari window on the iPad and I was able to zoom in and out on web pages. I mentioned the ability to toggle on and off the Retina display on the iPad. I've noticed that scrolling is faster using my fingers on the iPad when Retina is turned off, but oddly it's about the same speed when I use the trackpad to scroll. I'll definitely keep the Luna display on Retina. By now, at least some of you are wondering whether your older iPad or older Mac can run Luna display. The good news is that compatibility goes really far back. In their compatibility section, they say that macOS 10.11, that's El Capitan, or later. And for optimal performance, they recommend 2012 or later MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, Mac Mini, and iMac. For the Mac Pro, they recommend late 2013 or better. On the iPad side, they say it requires iOS 9.1 or later and an iPad 2 or later, and any iPad Mini or iPad Pro. I gotta tell you, Luna Display will definitely give your old iPad something to do in its old age. Now, you might be wondering how well Luna Display works from a latency perspective. If scrolling and moving windows around on screen is slow, then this isn't going to be an option most people would want to use. It turns out that the response time of Luna Display is highly dependent on your Wi-Fi signal. I've been using it primarily at my desk in my studio, which is quite close to my router, and it performs really well. I tried it out on my back porch where the signal strength is poor, and the iPad wouldn't even connect to Luna Display on the Mac that was sitting right next to it. When I had a mediocre signal, the screen would look pretty good while dragging a window or scrolling, but once it stopped, it was still clear and readable. Okay, I'm going to stop for a second because I just made a mistake. Would look pretty jack. What does jack mean? All right. Out on my back porch where the signal strength is poor, and the iPad wouldn't even connect to Luna Display on the Mac that was sitting right next to it. Okay, I'm going to cut right there. I needed to stop and relax for a second. It was a long time to go talking by myself.
That was.
Save.
Impressive, Podfeed.
I'm not even close to done with this section. And the iPad wouldn't even connect to Luna Display on the Mac that was sitting right next to it. It's hard to listen to because I'm listening I'm listening on Bose noise-canceling headphones, but they sound awful.
Hey, we brought up since Oklahoma was sung earlier by somebody. People wanted to know, what part were you trying out for? I thought it was like Oakley Annie what was her name?
Oh, Ado Annie was
Ado Annie, that was it. And I told him, what was the line the director said? Something like...
He said, you project well.
Yeah, that was it. Thanks, director.
All right, I'm going to start recording again, Steve.
Okay, muting.
When I had a mediocre signal, the screen would look pretty jacked up while dragging a window or scrolling, but once it stopped, it was still clear and readable. They do recommend that you can connect over USB if you would like it to work better. They include a window you can bring up from within the Luna Display app called Latency. This app gives you a real-time graph of latency and throughput, which is super fun to watch. I ran some tests using both my 2.4 and 5 gigahertz network, sitting in one of the worst rooms in the house. I scrolled around in an app projected onto the iPad, and the latency was significantly slower on... Dang it. Shoot, I gotta fix this. Hang on a second. It was backwards. I gotta set down my
Can I help you?
Microphone.
You want some edit work here?
Yeah, but it's too hard.
Too hard? Okay. Kevin just sent in a little movie of his rendition of Oklahoma. But it just about brought my machine to a standstill, so I'm not going to play it anymore. Not because your voice, Kevin, just I think of the bandwidth.
I gotta see where I was. I scrolled around in an app projected onto the...
Thanks, Troy.
Okay. All right. See, I
Time to
scrolled
mute.
in an app. Yeah, thank you. I scrolled around in an app projected onto the iPad, and the latency was significantly lower. Dagnabbit. It was right the first time. Latency was lower. That means it was better. Hang on. Okay. It was right all along. Okay, here we go. Sitting in one of the worst rooms in the house. Sitting in one of the worst rooms in the house. Oh, shoot. I scrolled around in an app projected. Split. That's not what I meant to do, but okay. All right, here we go. That's not what I meant to do. Let me save. I scrolled around in an app projected onto the iPad, and the latency was significantly lower on 5 gigahertz. The throughput peaked at around 1.2 megabytes per second on 2.4 gigahertz, and was more than double that on 5 gigahertz. Clearly, Luna Display favors the 5 gigahertz network. If you have trouble connecting your iPad to your Mac, there's also a manual connection option. The Mac app shows a QR code, and the iPad app will launch the camera to capture that QR code. I wasn't able to test it because the iPad and Mac, in my case, were able to connect normally. I mentioned that you can use Apple Pencil to interact with your iPad over Luna Display. In this mode, you do not get pressure sensitivity with Pencil like you do on the iPad Pro natively. However, you can combine Luna and AstroPad together and get the best of both worlds. I confirmed that pressure sensitivity worked perfectly. The AstroPad interface has a section that shows your latency. When I was USB connected, it said 3 milliseconds, and when I switched to 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, it went up to 5 to 7 milliseconds. I have to say that as I drew on screen, I could see that it was a smidge behind me, but nothing that would even come close to bothering me. That's backwards, isn't it? I don't want to switch this again. When I was USB connected, it says 3 mils. Oh, no, that was Wi-Fi. Okay, no, that is good. Okay, keeping going. I have to say that AstroPad has really advanced since I last used it, so many more features and things to play with that I got distracted from working on this review for Luna Display. If you do own AstroPad, it's essentially like using the supplied Luna Display software on steroids. You get all of the display sharing capability, but also the enhanced pencil support and great drawing tools within Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer, or even Photoshop and Lightroom. There are a couple of constraints with Luna Display. You cannot use it with any kind of adapter or hub. It must be directly connected to your Mac. You can't use it on multiple iPads at the same time, but you don't have to do any kind of pairing to toggle between two iPads. Luna Display is currently shipping to the US, Canada, and Japan. I'm looking at you, Kaylee, and also the European Union. I have had a problem on a few occasions where Luna Display wouldn't connect, even at my desk near the router. I'm pretty sure we have figured out together that it's an interference problem with my Thunderbolt 3 dock and the USB-C cable coming into my Mac from the dock. I've noticed that if I use the USB-C ports on the opposite side for Luna Display from the cable, it works much more consistently than if I have it on the same side with the USB-C cable. I asked the Astro folks, what kind of witchcraft is Luna Display actually doing? It does require Wi-Fi or a USB connection to work, so what is the hardware device actually doing? My little friend Jeremy from Astro sent me this answer. Luna Display does indeed use your iPad and computer's network connection, either via Wi-Fi they're both on, or via USB connection, which is a network connection under the hood. The Luna device itself isn't responsible for this aspect. Its job is to look like a display that matches your connected iPad in size to the Mac. That makes it so that it looks like a real display with GPU support and everything. So, like I said, it's a bit of witchcraft. I have to say, I think the $80 Luna Display is a great investment if you have an iPad or if you need to justify buying another one. Check it out at lunadisplay.com. Oh,
woo, that was a long
tiring
one. Very long.
It was. Maybe I should switch the order and play Troy second, because I am just tired.
I bet Troy wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I don't say it's the other.
Great pot feet.
I do.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I can do that.
Or did you do a save and a chapter marker?
I haven't done a chapter marker.
I'm going to be famous.
I'm going to be famous. All right, I'm going to do that. I'm switching it.
All right, Troy, you're up next.
Yeah. I am just tired. I don't know, sitting up, good posture.
Well, that hike might have done something to you. What? That was like almost 6 miles today.
Yeah, how long was that?
It was 4 hours. 4 hours, about 6 miles. Now, we did pause a lot.
Right.
We stopped and took a lot of photos. Oh, time to move on? Tell me when you're ready.
No.
So, while you were recording, people were talking about maybe a Podfeed Christmas Carol session.
They want me to sing Christmas carols to them now?
I think everyone wants to sing. Brett's talking about some Christmas carols that are train fan oriented. Kevin hikes 60 feet. Yeah. So
how about,
maybe we'll have a special holiday carol session. And we can open up the audio. We can open up the audio on Discord.
Kings of Orient are bearing gifts. We've traversed afar. When Kyle was little, I didn't know any nursery rhymes, so I used to sing him Christmas carols.
Yeah, I don't think he liked it a lot.
less content for you to develop. What does he mean?
If we do Christmas carols? If you do a Christmas carol, we just sing it. You don't have to write anything. It's already written. Joe's happy to provide a smart home light show for the holiday event. Hike to the frit. Right. Yeah. I do that sometimes.
Puss. Okay. Okay. Let's hear how this sounds. I'm going to kick back and relax a little bit.
Okay, Troy, you're up.
.com. What?
Troy's up.
Okay. Here we go. Check it out at lunadisplay.com. We're going to do something completely... Oh, that's weird. Oh. Oh, that's that little clip that Troy will know what that is. That was that little audio problem. We're going to do... Okay, I need to split this here. That was my mic. I handheld my PR40. I've never done that before. .com. We're going to do something completely different now. I'm actually sitting in my studio with Troy Shimkus, who's a friend of the show. He was out here visiting, and Steve and I said, hey, maybe we should meet up for coffee, and then it turned into a wonderful friendship. Anyway, say hi to everybody, Troy.
Hi, guys. How you guys doing today?
Now, he's done a review for us before. What did you do a review on?
Cutting the cable, basically. So going into Apple TV and an antenna and how to get that all set up with all that together.
Oh, right. Well, the reason I wanted him to come on the show today, though, was he came to California to go on a little vacation. He has done more in like 6 days than we've done since we've lived here. One of the things he did was he took a pilgrimage up to the spaceship campus, and I got such a kick out of watching him enjoy this that I wanted to have him come tell you about it. I'm going to just give my perspective real quickly. Was I saw that he was there, and I said, hey, let's do a FaceTime, and he gave me a virtual tour of the Apple spaceship, not the campus itself, but the gift shop and things like that. But so first of all, why did you drive all the way to San Francisco from Los Angeles and back in a couple of days just to do this?
Well, I'm an Apple nerd, so any chance I get to experience more Apple stuff, I'm going to take it. But 12 years ago, I was...
Are you saying you an ever so slight bias? Is that what you just said?
My bias is probably a little more than ever so slight. But about 12 years ago, I came to San Francisco on business and took a small day trip down to their campus at that point in time. And now that they've got this massive new one, I thought, well, I've got to go back and see the new one if I'm in the area, even though area is not the right term.
It's 300 miles away.
What do I know? It's one big state. I just went everywhere. But so I wanted to kind of complete the circle, if you will, in their new spaceship campus and kind of revisit where I was 12 years ago.
Oh, cool. So you described it to Steve and I at dinner tonight. But so driving up, what do you see?
So as you enter the area, all you see is this glass cube. It's what I think I call it a beautiful monstrosity because it is massive. And it's these floor to ceiling, I don't even know how many feet tall these panes of glass are, but the entire building is a rounded rectangle, I would say very much similar to the new iPad styling, just of glass. And so all around, there's like a big fishbowl, if you will. And so you don't even know where to go in because there's something to go into on every side. And so it was fun to kind of see that as just awe-inspiring and the natural wood tones against the glass. And then all the trees and the greenery they have around there just made you feel... It makes you feel like you're entering an outdoor market in a way because there's just the glass just takes you away from the fact that it's a store or a building.
Oh, interesting. Now, how close is this to the spaceship itself?
I would guess like a half a mile. I'm really bad at distances, but you could see the spaceship from the top balcony they've got. But it would probably be about a half mile or less just to get to the actual place. So you can see it, but it's hidden behind trees, so you get to see like a peek of it. But not the whole thing.
Now, I know this sounds dumb to say that I feel like I've been there, but Troy, when I saw Troy was there, I got him to put me on FaceTime, and he pointed it at the spaceship, and that thing is huge. I was amazed how big that was.
Yeah, much bigger than I guess anyone ever thought it would be. I mean, I'm sure if people have been watching those aerial drone footages they've been doing, you might have had an inkling, but when you're standing there and you're in the store, which is massive, and then you look across and you see how big it is, I maybe saw like an eighth of the wedge of the pie, if it were a pie, and then you kind of see how big it will be from there, and it's massive.
Wow. Okay. So you finally figure out how to get into this cube.
Well, I decided to just kind of walk straight at one of the corners, and I figured I'd find out one way to go. But what drew my eye was as I'm walking up, I see people surrounding this slate of wood, something that looked bumpy. I couldn't really see what it was. And as I walk up to it, there's like all kinds of people just circling it like little vultures with iPads in front of their faces. And they're doing that thing where they're getting low and high and ooh, ah, and they're all excited. And I'm walking up going, why are
you're just seeing a lumpy table, right?
All I see is a table. And I'm like, what are these people doing? I don't understand this. And so you walk in and then you notice, oh, they're like, it's an AR thing because they've got these iPads in their faces and they're interacting with this table. And I still didn't know what it was. And so I go there and
you said you thought it was that game
that's right. No, I thought because from the keynote they did that ping pong catapult. I thought it was that.
Okay, I know Troy's going to be sad, but I got to keep moving. I'm going to jump us ahead to the end of this section.
Hopefully Troy could hear that.
All right. What's that?
Hopefully Troy could hear that.
Yeah, I'm assuming he just muted himself, his hearing in Discord.
Okay, so maybe he's listening on the live feed, the YouTube feed.
What the heck happened? Uh-oh.
Don't say uh-oh.
I accidentally switched to the iPad.
You okay?
Save. Let me check and see.
Right, sounds good. You can find us at podfeed.com/Slack. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Okay, that's where I cut it.
Troy was just listening on the live feed, so that's why he muted it.
Good.
So.
Sorry I didn't have time for the whole thing, Troy, but...
For those who want to hear more from Troy, just go to the...
Oh, there's a picture.
Oh, that's cool. Where did you get that?
That's the picture he took of the iPad.
Oh, that's right, from the iPad, right. That's the virtual...
That's the lid being lifted off.
The AR version of the campus.
Oh, was going to photo narrate the story. Oh, no, I was enough good ones. I just have to keep going because we've only got 15 minutes left, and Elaine's making us dinner, so. Okay.
Muting.
I'm now going to come up to Patreon. Thank you, dear. Because I've got a long parallel toolbox to do yet. Mm-hmm. Okay. There we go.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Well, I sure got a kick out of that. I had a lot of fun. Well, whenever... I am hearing something through here. Right there. Whenever you hear me talk about a gadget on the show, I will always try to give you a link to the product on Amazon. If you learn about a product on the show and it sounds nifty to you, I'd really appreciate it if you use the link I provided. These are affiliate links, which means if you buy through that link, a small percentage of what you spend goes to the Podfeet coffers to help offset the costs of creating the show. I realize it can be a little extra effort to do this, so I appreciate all of you who do it. If you don't shop through Amazon, or it's too hard to remember, you can always go to podfeet.com and click on the big red Support the Show button and find other ways to provide financial support for the podcast production. If you can't support the show financially, that is 100% fine. Do not worry about it. You can still annoy your friends, coworkers, random people in line at the grocery store, and the DMV by telling them about all the fine podcasts over at podfeed.com. Thank you all for your support. Steve, I think you were not muted. Am I correct?
I am muted. Oh, hold on.
You just proved me right. Okay, I just want to make sure that's what I was hearing because I was hearing a bunch. All right. Oh, this is a long one coming up. Boy, I'm tempted. This is a long segment. Next week. I'm tempted.
Do you hear me now? Al.
Yes.
Ooh,
I've been able to hear you the whole time.
So, okay. So I wasn't muted, apparently.
Yeah. I am tempted. Shoot. I'm tempted to make this a 31-minute show and save the Parallels Toolbox because that's going to be more than 15 minutes.
Yeah. How's next week looking?
Well, I've got one segment mostly written, and but next week I have to work on a video for Don, and we're away at a wedding next weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
But I do have security bits. So
nothing
if I
wrong
save
with a long
this,
show.
What's that?
TJ says nothing wrong with a long show.
No, there's nothing wrong with a long show except for Allison having time to create it.
Right. Oh, nice Dave asked, still doing chit chat. I think you are, right?
Yes, we're still doing chit chat. Absolutely, we're doing that on Monday.
Yeah, those were good photos, Troy. Thank you very much for throwing those in the feed in Discord.
Yeah, excellent. You know what?
Actually, maybe
Kevin's
we should put
saying I can save it if I want.
We might want to put a couple of those in the blog post, in the pod feed or the. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe one. It won't work to put a whole bunch in.
Not right now, but one or two. Yeah, one.
Well, actually, one. The way the blog works, it would be hard. I'm gonna actually set the mic down because I could do this. Put it in the stand. It's not good for recording, but it's okay for this. You can tell I'm tired, can't you? I'm gonna do it. But I'm gonna rearrange the ad because I can't do the ad read right before the end. So I am going to.
So you're gonna do parallels tonight?
No, I'm not gonna do parallels tonight. I also feel I can tell I'm
You're
exhausted.
Fading. Pod fade.
Yeah. How far did we hike?
Almost 6 miles, like 5.8.
Yeah, Elaine made us hike really far.
Thanks, Elaine.
Okay.
But it was a great view at the end. Actually, it's a great view all the way along a lake.
It's fantastic.
I think they have more lakes in Arizona than they do in California.
I think
so.
They
have lakes that nice.
Hang on a second. I'm going to check something, Steve. Hold on.
Okay,
if you need to justify buying another one, check it out at lunadisplay.com. Whenever you hear me talk about a gadget on the show, I will... Okay. Might be a little bit long. A bit. What did I just do? What did I just do? Dang it. That's not good. Or if you need to justify buying another one, check it out at lunadisplay.com. Whenever you hear me... Okay, I just made a gap. Did not mean to do that. .com. Whenever you hear me talk about a gadget... One thing that bugs me is I can hear me popping on this microphone. What is going on here? Escape. There you go. Whenever you hear me talk about a gadget on the show, I'm going to put that pause back. I think it was better. Okay. All right. I don't know what Steve's showing on screen. Maybe showing me moving things around. We'll put Troy back. He's connected. There he is. Slide him in. All right, now let's go back and zoom in on that and see what we got going on. Support. We're going to do something over at podfeed.com. Thank you all for your support. We're going to do something. A bit of a breath more than that. For your support. We're going to do something completely different now. That's good. Okay. All right. We have a way to wing this. Yeah, I'm going to be real happy I did this. I can tell. I'm just as soon as I realized I wasn't going to be recording this, we were going to be about 15 minutes afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Okay, here we go. All right. Put this here, and then move this back over here. All right, here we go. I've been working hard on a review of the new iPad Pro, the new 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and pencil and the keyboard folio that comes with it, but I haven't done as much with it as I'd like to before I tell you all about it. So I'm actually going to cut the show a little bit short this week, and I'm going to tell you all about it next week. But next week we've also got... 1 second there, split. it next week. Try that one more time. I've been working on a review of the new 12.9-inch iPad Pro, but since I'm obviously not the kind of person that gets one of these, hot off the presses, it's got to be instantaneous kind of a review, I'd really like to spend a little bit more time with it and flesh out my thoughts about it. I have opinions on the new pencil and especially the keyboard folio. Spoiler, I love it. Anyway, I'm going to tell you all about it next week, and so I'm actually going to cut the show a little bit short, but you will hear about that next week. So, in other words, that is going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com. You can follow me on Twitter @podfeet. And remember, anything you're looking for, everything good, starts with podfeet.com/whatever you're looking for. So you want to become a Patreon? You go to podfeet.com/Patreon. You want to join our Facebook group? podfeet.com/Facebook. Want to join our Slack community, which is going really, really well? That's over at podfeet.com/Slack. Want to join the live chat room? That's podfeet.com/chat. Want to do those Amazon affiliate links I talked about? podfeet.com/Amazon. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed.
Woo. That was a long one, Pod. Actually, it's been an hour, but it's a 30-minute show. I guess because everything you did was spoken.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I only did. I didn't do very much. I did Luna Display, and I did. I talked about Snob OS. I don't think I did anything else. Troy did all the work.
By the way,
I think it's because you stopped me midstream. It must be your fault.
Yeah. Rush shared.
What's that?
Rush shared the photo of Troy meeting you and me at Starbucks.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's a good shot. Although we're a little bit.
I love that shot. That was
we're a little
really
bit crusty from our run, but Troy looks good.
Yeah, yeah. Troy looks fine. Yeah, we are definitely crusty. Wasn't Krusty a clown?
Character on Bart Simpson. Yeah.
Is that what it was?
All
right.
What's the show?
The Simpsons. The audio here.
I think he still is. Is that still running?
Jeez.
The Simpsons? If it is, it's got to be the longest running cartoon ever. It is, Dave. Wow. 30 years? Seriously? Wow.
Friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Okay, I think that's a little bit low. Let's see. On Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific. That's pretty good. More like that and slide that over. No, don't do that. Escape. Slide it over. Come on. There we go. Subscribed.
Sorry,
all right,
both channels.
That is 5:58, and I think it is going to be. I'm going to call it, Steve. What do you think?
I think this might be a wrap. We need to go have our spaghetti with Elaine and Daryl.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm starving. We had bagels at like 10 in the morning, and then we had like little snacks. They were delicious on our hike, but I am ready for some good spaghetti. So I think I'm going to call it.
Yes, I think we should.
We didn't have lunch.
We didn't have a proper lunch. I think it was like snack fruit and some Chex Mix.
It was delicious.
It was good, but I'm getting hungry.
All right, I think we should call it. Goodbye, Rose. Say goodbye, Steve.
Goodbye, Gracie.